Hi, I'm Megan Walker, and welcome to 365 Community Chats. So what is this? Well, it's a podcast and YouTube video series where I sit down and chat with members of the Power Platform, Dynamics and Microsoft community. So sit down, get comfy, and let's catch up with someone. In episode 6 of 365 Community Chats, I got to sit down and catch up with the lovely Sara Lagerquist. Sara has recently returned to work after a significant amount of time away while battling against breast cancer. She's doing amazing and back blogging again, but I was curious to know how she has approached getting back up to speed in such a fast-paced area of technology in the Power Platform. She's one of my favourite people, so let's get started.
Hello. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. You're looking fabulous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Trying a new hair.
And how are you feeling with the hair now?
I think it's exciting. I can try all the new kind of stuff, and now I'm doing this for a while, and then we'll see where
I
we're
like
doing
that.
next. It's kind
Is
of a
that,
lot of attitude, and I think it suits me.
I do as well. It's very sassy and like, fuck off.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I'm quite
I love it.
comfortable.
Nice, nice. And I was just going to say, in terms of like your tattoos, have you had any new ones recently or any
Yeah,
of those new?
this one is kind of new. So it's a breast cancer tattoo. So from this woman's breast, there's
Mm-hmm.
coming out a phoenix bird, which is
Don't make me cry this early on.
what does that mean? It means like reborn or something.
You're
That's yeah,
rising, yeah, you're rising from adversity, you're
yeah.
coming
So
back to
from the
life.
cancer, I was like, oh, I'm a new person. Yeah, this is awesome. So that's what I
Oh,
made.
that's beautiful.
So that's about
I
like
love it.
4 or 5 weeks. The others are been
Yeah.
around.
Oh, I was going to say, so I know that you've had not only a shitty couple of years because of COVID, but that's almost like irrelevant, really, isn't it?
No,
It's like it's
I
been
haven't noticed that we're in a pandemic.
what?
What?
So the breast cancer has been just all kinds of shittiness that you've gone through. And I know that you talked with Mark Smith on his podcast and you did an episode where you really talked about like your feelings about when you had it and like, don't talk to me, don't send me love heart emojis,
Yeah.
don't do anything. And then now kind of coming back to this place of, I guess, like openness for that kind
Yeah,
of.
now I don't mind heart emojis as much as I did then. I just didn't want people to feel sorry for me then. So
Oh, yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
ugh. But yeah, having cancer is, if you're gonna choose a time, do it during a pandemic because you're not missing out on very much.
Yeah,
There's
no,
like no
no event.
parties, no trips or travels or anything that you're missing out on. So
Perfect timing.
perfect
Well
timing.
done.
Thank you.
I was going to say for a while we would see each other like sometimes like every month or every other month
I
for a
know.
while. It was
I know.
crazy.
I always got used to that.
I know it's sad that we don't get to do that anymore. But so in terms of now you've transitioned back to work, but for anyone in the UK and definitely anyone in the US, this seems so foreign a concept that an employer or that the government understand that someone needs to go through something like this and needs to be able to not be at work and not worry about their job. For a lot of people in other countries, that concept just doesn't exist. It's like if you need to take time off, you have to fit it around work or
Yeah.
so I know you were able to take time away, but you've recently gone back. Are you doing part-time still or
Yeah.
what's kind of the approach been?
So being sick in Sweden is just so you get not your full pay, you get less, but you still get paid during. So if the doctor says, oh, she's sick, she can't work, there's you're taken care of pretty much. So I just turned off my computer for 10 months and we're like, okay,
Wow.
not touching this. Because I
Yeah.
slept like most of the time, so I wouldn't have time to work. And
Yeah.
I felt not too well all the time. But um, now I work 75%, so 6 hours a day I'm working.
Right.
So I'm still on sick leave for 25% until New Year's, pretty much. After
Oh,
that,
wow.
I'm healthy enough to start working 100%,
Right.
but I won't. Because I figure, like, oh, you know, all the cliches with the perspective and everything. Yes, I've gotten some perspective. I'm not
Yeah.
never working full time again, probably. I'm just gonna keep it at maybe 80% or 75. We'll see. If not all employers are as understanding too, that they say, like, go ahead, choose how much you want to work. So
Hmm.
you don't have the right to work less unless you like agree with your employer. But obviously, I've come to an agreement with my employer that they
Yeah,
rather have me at 75 than not at all. So um,
absolutely. And I guess in terms of, obviously you'd worked for, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, CRM Consultada.
yeah, CRMK. You can.
Okay, well that's much easier, CRMK. So obviously you'd worked there for a while, so the value of Sara was absolutely known. So I think as well, when a company is able to like readjust and be like, okay, it's bad that we're not going to have you there full time, but then they readjust, and then so they can continue to readjust, and if, like you said, having you for a little bit or not full time, they still get you at that. I think that it's amazing that they recognize the value, because again, so many employers do not, and they just would be like, okay, you can't do that,
Yeah.
move on.
Although I understand that kind of, because no one is ever irreplaceable. You can always replace people. You can always manage. It's very rarely that uh,
You can, but I'm guessing your 80% or your 75% is probably still pretty darn good and probably
I
close
hope
to someone's
I hope so.
100%.
But even though like my employer, they CRMCO, they didn't focus on that at all. When I got sick, my CEO, she came by and just took walks with me and were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you like how are you feeling?" She didn't care. I don't think she once asked like, "When are you coming back?"
No, they're such lovely people though as well. I mean, you work for good people,
Yeah, I
so
do.
so in terms of like, even so if you think back to like pre breast cancer, pre getting sick, and you were doing, blogs, presenting, all the rest of it. And you and I both know, anyone that does stuff in this area knows how fast paced stuff is coming out. And Microsoft are like, here's a new thing, and here's a new thing, and here's a new thing. For you coming back, like, if I try and think about how I would have felt, I feel like a bit overwhelmed just thinking about, oh my god, how do I catch up? Is that kind of something that you were
Yeah,
worried about?
absolutely. I was mostly worried before I actually closed down my computer. So, like, I got my diagnosis. I worked for maybe like a week before I started my treatments. Um, and during that week, when I was like really easing into what a change this would be, one of my biggest worries were, okay, so I'm gonna lose all my like current knowledge. Uh, I'm gonna be inaccurate. I'm gonna be, yeah. But as soon as I closed down the computer, you kind of let it go in a way. So when it was time to come back to work, I did do a couple of things that like look through the release notes, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I quite quickly realized that even though lots happen, not that much happened at the same time. I know it sounds weird, but like as soon as they put me in a situation where I was about to like be advising on how to build something, I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I still have this in the back of my head. I haven't totally let it go. So
Good.
after that first meeting, I was like, it's,
And plus, you know that if you don't remember something, or something seems to have changed, well, guess what? Someone's blogged about it. Someone's done a video about it. So
Exactly.
it's
I thought I got like a get out of jail card with all my MVP friends that I could just like, okay, so I might have forgotten this. Could you please? Oh, I've done some really stupid mistakes, like super simple things that I forgot that I like called my colleague up and she was like, "Are you
mhm.
kidding now, or do you really need help with this?" One thing was that I was like, I can't get a dashboard into the sitemap. I was like, where I'm creating a custom model-driven app. Where is my dashboard? And she was like, so have you added it in the sitemap? I was like, no. Huh? So I needed to really like her to go through it with me. And I was like, whoa, are this the type of things I've forgotten during this time? The smallest, simplest
Little
things,
things. Yeah.
not the big things. Yeah, that was kind of funny
So
too.
so in terms of your blogging, I know you've done. I was so excited when I saw the first blog that you put out there. Is that something that you're like focusing on trying to do more of, or like are you thinking about submitting for presentation, like for events to do even just virtual presentations? Do you not really care about it, or?
I think so I was quite focused before too that everything that I did in the community should be enjoyable. MVP and like community work and everything like that is not work. It's just something I do for fun.
Yeah.
And now even more so. So maybe since I'm working less and I'm doing all other fun stuff like pottery, I don't have as much time for community work either. So maybe I'll do less of everything, but I'll still do it as long as it's fun, for sure.
Yeah, so if it's something that you're passionate about and you're like, oh, I really want to put this out here, this
Then
is
I'll do
gonna
it. Yeah.
help people, and I'm excited to share it. Because it's interesting you mentioned about the pottery, because one of the things that I've loved to see is not just the pottery, but the flower arranging stuff.
Yes.
And then I know you were always a keen. I don't know if I would even say gardener, because gardener sounds like less than what you actually do, but a farmer.
Farmer. Yeah, I grew mostly vegetables and not flowers, so maybe farmer is better.
Farmer's a bit more accurate. The gardener sounds like you just sort of like plant a few roses or a few dahlias or whatever. But I mean, you're pretty hardcore with the vegetables and growing produce, aren't you?
Yeah, I love that. And I think this year I'm going to do like half vegetables, half flowers, so I can grow my own flowers and do my own bouquets and stuff like that. Because like all the sickness and being really bored, like during parts of the sick leave, I was starting to wake up mentally, but my body was still quite so I was like, I'm so bored, but I'm too tired to do anything. So that's when I started like looking at courses and doing different handcrafts and stuff just to be creative, but still not being so active.
I love that you've done all that. I mean, so what's the thing that you've learned or new skill that you've gained?
There's a risk that I might do
Mm-hmm.
everything. But I think like the pottery stuff, I was there yesterday. That's so much fun because it's quite difficult. So I think it's a skill that will take a really long time to learn. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what's even more intriguing then. If it would be quick, like, okay, I'll try this, now I'm done. Now I don't
You
need
get
to, yeah,
bored, yeah.
then I don't need to continue. But like doing that and excelling and trying new stuff, yeah, that part is probably the most creative and difficult thing I've tried during this.
It's really, and I think, like you said, kind of like that cliche of like getting perspective. I think it's a real shame that it takes something so hard. Need was like, I
I
need to
know,
keep my
right?
brain active. Then yeah, it's shit that you that you have to do something.
Oh, I think before I was kind of um, frustrated a lot of the time. Like I wanted to go to the next step. I wanted this. I wanted this. I always felt like not content with almost anything. And now it's the opposite. So I was just like, okay, so it was. um, November, December, January, February, and March are really bad months in Sweden. They're like gray, super cold, dark. So I was just walking my dog the other day and was like, oh, I'm just in the beginning of all these months with really bad weather. And then I realized that something in my brain are like, oh, but then you have more time for party and this and this. And I'm like, where is this positive person coming from popping up in my brain saying all these things? That would never happen before. That I would be a lot more frustrated and negative. And now I'm like, oh, now I have more time for other things.
I love that, but as long as you don't lose the sarcasm and the quick.
I'm not sure that's ever gonna go
No,
away. I'm not completely positive. I'm quite
I need a little bit of negativity from you.
yes, you will get that too.
Thanks, I
Don't worry.
appreciate that. So, in terms of the projects that you're on, are you working on anything where you're I'm not talking about relearning, I'm not talking about stuff that you forgot that you're trying to remember, but is there anything that you're like really excited about that you're like, oh, I get to work on this, and this is either new from Microsoft or new to you because you've just not sort of touched it yet?
Actually, right now I'm doing stuff that I've semi-done in other ways. Not quite, n no case is the same, right?
Yeah.
But similar. It's still a new design. I'm doing what I've done before, which is struggling with how to do a proper ALM with customer voice in Flow.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I've been rewriting my flows a couple of times to like, okay. Um, so I'm still learning, but it's not something really new. I'm looking forward to like doing my first virtual agent or something. That would be awesome.
And it
I
may
haven't
be,
done
like you
that yet.
said, you realize that work is work, and then you've got all of this other wonderful time where you can do wonderful things for yourself. But are you kind of saying, well, that's work, but like PVA, for example, are you wanting to like go off and spend time on your own doing it, or is it still very much like if it's not on a project, that's work?
No, not that strict really, but I'm very like um I'm not very good at like just experimenting and trying new stuff
Right.
out. I need a case. So if someone would be like, okay, this would be a perfect case for Power Virtual Agent, but we're not gonna build it, then I might actually go home and like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
play around because now I have a scenario. But like I tried playing around with it, and it was like, yeah, I can drag and drop, I can configure, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing. So I need the case to be motivated to try something out. And then we have, I think we aim for 80% debit, and then we have 20% of our
Nice.
time for educational stuff. So we have like every Friday we can focus on
That's
growing
nice.
our own skills. So I have if I want to do that, I can
Mhm.
take that work hours to like, okay, today I'm gonna learn Power Virtual Agent if that would be the case. So I don't need to really spend my free time.
Like any time I've ever been learning stuff that's on my own was in my own time,
Yeah.
because it is very rare that you would have an employer that says, or they might say, oh, you're going to get 10%, 15%, or whatever.
But it
But
never
then when it comes down
happens.
to it,
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes down to it, then it's taken away, and it's like, well, actually, no, you're full time, you're 120% on a project or something
I
like
think
that.
this is the first employer where they say like, oh, 20% of your time is for own education. Before, I've been at employers that have been like, okay, so we have this week where we do all the education stuff. You can sign up for whatever you want to do, and then maybe you can learn something here and there. But this is like, okay, 20% of your time. You should use it. If you're not using it,
Mm.
it's almost frowned upon because it's like,
Yeah, there's something wrong.
it,
You should be
yeah,
learning all the time.
yeah, because we're in an area where things happen so quickly, and to keep up to date is really difficult if you were just in project, I think.
Okay, so I know before, what is it, 2019, I guess? 2020, the one that was cancelled? Oh no, that was a music group. Right.
Oh,
So
right.
is that still something?
Yeah.
Is that something
I
that
think I had one in
you still are going to be a
2020. Yeah.
part of? Is that something where you're hoping to have another event at
I
some
had one in January. The
point?
one
Okay.
in April was canceled.
Oh, okay. So you are doing them again
Yes.
to have another event
We
at some
had one
point?
in
Okay.
November. We had one, and the next one is in January. Um,
Oh, okay. So you are doing them again.
yeah, unless something happens with the pandemic, of course. But as it looks right now, the venue we have, we can keep a distance, so hopefully we can do it. And like the first one we had in November, after 1.5 years not seeing each other, everyone was like, "Oh, this is so amazing." I don't think they cared too much of what the sessions were. It was like, let's just,
Just to see
yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you have anyone that came over from other? I'm hoping.
No, that it was local. I think we're gonna have to go with local for a while before you can travel a bit more, probably.
And I'm hoping to go to America in February to visit
Yeah.
family, but I don't
No,
know.
you never. Have you booked already, or?
Oh, we've paid for everything. I mean, we've got insurance, but still, it's that whole thing of like, you could take off, you could be in the air on the way to Atlanta, and then they could say, okay, when you get there, you got to quarantine
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, that's my vacation.
Yep.
Thanks.
No, that would be awful.
Wouldn't it be horrible when you're going to go on holiday and then you get there and they're like, right, you just have to stay there in that hotel, not see anyone, get food delivered to your room, and then that would be it.
Yeah,
2
that
weeks
would be very expensive and not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we can get to do something that's international again soon. Oh, Scottish Summit. Have you submitted anything to
Yes,
Scottish
and
Summit?
I've been accepted. I'm actually doing a breast cancer session then, so it's going to
Oh,
be
wow.
personal.
Okay.
I've promised to
Right.
show never before seen pictures, so I hope it will be kind of
Do we get to see your boobs?
not that private, but still private photos, but not that private.
Side boob?
No.
Be live in person, like, hey guys.
No, that's a big chance of that happening. Then, yeah.
Is that the surprise?
I think just a lot of bald pictures.
I do too, even though I'll be in America hopefully at the same time. We're missing each other again. So, well, I hope that you get to do some PVA building
I
soon.
really
and that
hope so. That would be so awesome if I were able to go.
I do too, even though I'll be in America hopefully at the same time. We're missing each other again. So, well, I hope that you get to do some PVA building soon and that you continue to be strong and rising from the phoenix rising. And yeah, I'm just so happy to see you back at work, doing blogs, looking positive, feeling, like you're
Feel
doing
amazing.
so many things.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really, really happy to see it, and I'm so proud of you. You're just an inspiration. You're an amazing person.
Thank
so keep being you, and thank you for chatting with me.
Thank you for the chat. It was so much fun.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching this episode of 365 Community Chats. I'm your host, Megan V. Walker, and I'll be back soon chatting with someone else from the Power Platform, Dynamics and Microsoft community. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for notifications.